And I remember I was speaking to this guy who was an online coach. This was back in the early days of like ClickFunnels. And he was running Facebook ads. And I had no idea what Facebook ads really were at that stage. He was running them to like a funnel and into a booked call. And then he was selling like personal training, online training packages for like, I don't know, £500 or £1,000. So he was making pretty good. He was making pretty good money. And this is back when ad costs were so much cheaper than they are now. So it was quite easy. And so I was like, as soon as I found that out, I was like fascinated by that. I was like, that's crazy. So I started to run my own ads and I would run an image. What I would do is I'd run an image of me in the gym training somebody. I would target women who were, back in the time when Facebook targeting was pretty good. So I'd target local women who were between like sort of 30 and 60 or 30 and 50. And I would target people who had children who were like 1 to 3 years old. And then my ads would be targeted around like postnatal training. I didn't have a clue about postnatal training, right? But I was like, it's actually not, can't be that far different from normal training. So I was like, if you want to get back into the gym, come and try a free class with me. I'm a trainer in Canterbury, which is where I was located. And I literally would run one image ad. I'd run it to a Google form. So there's no tracking whatsoever. And I used to spend like 30 quid and get like 10, 12 leads. So, which you would never get now probably, but it worked quite well. And I would call the leads that came in. I'd book them in for a session. They'd come in, I'd do a free session, and then I would sell them on like a training package of like 10 sessions or 20 sessions. And I'd make, I remember spending maybe £30 and maybe selling two 10 blocks for like 400 quid each. So I'd make like 800 quid from like £30. And I was like, this is crazy. I was like, this
So
is crazy.
what was the return on the ad spend?
Yeah, like £30. I'd spend like £30. And then
Wow,
I would make like 800 quid, maybe
that's
600
crazy.
to £800. Yeah, yeah. So I was like, this is
Crazy.
crazy. I
Yeah.
was like, why is not everybody doing this? This is easy. So I kind of understood back then. I kind of learned a bit about ads, traffic, funnels, like how that works. It kind of lit a fire in me that made me realize that you really are just like one good ad campaign away from making a good amount of money. Like if you can get your ads to make you 10 times what you're spending, man, you can spend as much as you want, right? There's no limit. So I was like, this is crazy. And it also taught me a little bit about like niching and being specific to one sector. I think I think if I hadn't have targeted like postnatal and I hadn't have targeted women who, were of that kind of certain part in their life, I don't think it would have worked as well. So I learned a little bit about copywriting. My ad copy was, I spent a lot of time thinking about what I was going to write. I learned quite a lot in that process. And I also learned about sales. Like the guy that I actually owns the gym, who's Luke, who's done some courses inside of the group. He taught me a lot about sales.